welcome back to the channel. So as you know, TikTok is full of advice, but not all of it is good advice. As you know, on this channel, I love to give you wedding tips, tricks, and entertainment. And today I'm gonna be looking at some of the worst wedding advice I've seen on TikTok this week. And don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my previous video on bad TikTok advice. So this first video is kind of personal to me as a wedding photographer, but I wanna see your thoughts on this advice. Should you do bubbles or a whole bubble guns for your wedding exit? As a wedding photographer, it's my personal nightmare. I think there is a lot of fun to be had with bubbles, and it is a really good eco-friendly solution or alternative to confetti or even sparklers if your venue doesn't allow them. So I understand why people want to do bubbles, but as a photographer, it's the worst thing ever because bubbles are floating around the screen, you're worrying about them getting on your lens, and on top of that, it makes it so much harder for the camera to focus on the bride and groom and try to get them walking by as there's all these things flying in front of your lens. So if you're gonna do bubbles, at least try to make it so that the bubbles go behind you two as a couple instead of flying around in front of you and in front of the photographer and videographer. One of the comments said, I need to see the other angle to this video. And they said, oh, I haven't gotten the photos back from my photographer yet. Yes, because your photographer is probably crying, trying to find one that you guys are in focus and not the bubbles. So I totally get why this can be a fun concept, but be careful with how you implement it. We had a situation recently where the bubble guns got brought onto the dance floor after being used for the ceremony. And so I had heart attack part 2 because after making sure to capture the couple in focus for the ceremony, now there's bubbles flying all over the dance floor, and it was fun for the guests, but not for me and my camera. So use bubbles with caution, but they can be really fun and a great way to add a little spice to the photos. If you want an alternative in terms of your reception entrances, you could always do the waving the napkins in the air. That's another fun way to add some movement without giving your photographer a hard time. All right, here we go. So you didn't practice your first dance. Oh, this is so cute. Just like a helicopter. Okay, so not practicing your first dance, I personally would not recommend that. If you don't want to get turned into a human fidget spinner or whatever that move was, I think it was really fun, and I love how the couple, they seemed like really like carefree and lighthearted. So for them, they didn't want to practice and they just kind of pulled out that move, right? And I'm sure it looked so cute for the photos. So the best way to set yourself up for success for your first dance is to practice it. Some couples love to choreograph their entire first dance, and that can be great if that's your vibe. But personally, I think the most successful first dances as a wedding photographer are the ones where the couple has a few go-to moves that they do. So you can do the classic swaying back and forth, getting yourself comfortable and making sure you're in communication about when you want to hit one of your cool moves, whether that's a dip, a lift, a twirl. I think if you have a few setup moves to implement during your first dance, it can still feel very authentic. You're not trying to count out the rhythms in your head for every step of a choreographed dance, but you're also not panicking, looking scared in all your photos because you guys are not sure what to do because you didn't practice it. I love that this couple was having fun, but I also think you should practice a little bit just so that you don't feel panicked on the day of. Okay, I need to hear your thoughts on this one because I personally think it's gonna win the award this year for worst wedding decor piece I have seen yet. So let me know your thoughts. When the groom has one thing he wants and it's goldfish in a vase. That's terrifying. The caption says, lots of logistics, like keeping the fish out of the sun so they don't boil. But everyone loved this little touch. If I was a wedding guest, this little touch would have me running out the door. I'm a very clumsy person, and if I was paranoid about knocking over a vase of fish during the reception, I think it would just ruin the whole experience for me. Not to mention I would really probably feel bad for the little guys just being stuck in there with all these people running around them, loud music, and yeah, worrying about them not boiling. I don't think we should ever have to worry about goldfish getting boiled on the wedding day. Is that really something we want? I think the first problem here is giving the groom that one thing that he wanted to pick. No. There's a lot of times where the bride like completely plans the wedding and they just give the groom like one thing to plan. And that can be the biggest mistake because sometimes guys get stuck on one really stupid thing. So instead, try to involve him so that he understands the logistics of what you're planning and doesn't pick something really crazy like this. I have to read you a few of these comments because they absolutely killed me. I brought a goldfish home from a wedding and it lived longer than the marriage. Imagine eating dinner and one of the fish just dies. Their lifespan can be so short. Yeah, that would pretty much put a little damper on the day. You just see somebody like floating to the top there. Not the most romantic centerpiece, in my opinion. I would literally not marry someone if they insisted on this. That's fair enough as well, fair enough. Okay, one more comment. This person says, wedding coordinator here, do not do this unless you have a clear plan for the fish. I had a wedding that did something similar with betta fish. The couple had no plan and told the staff to dump them in the lake on site. I was so lucky to get there before they all met that and had to drive home with all these fish in Ziploc bags until I could get them to new homes. That is a mess. I just think there's so many logistics to plan on a wedding day that fish on your table should not be one of them unless it's the fish you're gonna eat for dinner. Please just don't do this. This is the worst advice. I get the concept of wanting the groom to pick something, but he needs to have some parameters here with what he picks. Maybe try to plan a little more together and not have him hyperfixate on a super bad idea. Just my opinion on it. Let me know your thoughts though about the fish. Do you think this is cool or ridiculous? And by the way, you should like and subscribe so you can avoid bad advice like this. Okay, maybe other than boiling your goldfish centerpieces, I think this video might be the most traumatizing of them all. It's not necessarily bad advice, but you just have to see this. It's more of a lesson. Not the baby's forehead. Oh, this is terrible. The dress, and why is she holding a water bottle walking down the aisle? Everything about this video is like terrible. This is so sad. I gotta see it one more time. No. How does this even happen? And she's still laughing. I think she's like still processing what's happening. So the caption says, Nan thought she was throwing the petals, but picked the wrong hand. Spoiler, it wasn't the one holding the petals. Oh my goodness, I think Nan already had a few too many sips of that red wine. The first comment says, no kids and no old people. Dude, funniest comment, but that is like terrible. Like, I don't think that there's many worse things that can happen to you on your wedding day than getting red wine spurted at you and your child. I know Jesus turned water into wine, but we don't want water or wine going on during the wedding ceremony. That's just like not it. Yeah, I don't have a lot of words other than if you're gonna have guests throw something at you during your recessional, don't give them alcohol before the ceremony. We can't have it both ways, people. Like, honestly, I feel like red wine is already a little risky choice during a wedding. Anytime I see like espresso martinis, red wine, like those very dark colored drinks, I get very worried very quickly because we have our bride on the dance floor and she's moving and everyone's moving back and forth, and almost every wedding I go to, at least one drink is gonna get spilled if people are, you know, throwing them back. If you're gonna have any guests throwing stuff at you at the end of your wedding ceremony, it can be great, it can be a really beautiful shot, but make sure that you've checked with your venue, make sure what you're throwing is biodegradable or is easy to clean up. And then the last thing is, I recommend picking some people that you trust to be the ones to throw the confetti because we don't know how to trust people. You've never seen them throw confetti before, so who do you actually trust to throw things in the air and not chuck something in your face? I've seen many a bride get a face full of petals, and that's just not what you want for those beautiful photos. I hope this worked out for her. I hope she was able to get it out of the dress. Her dress looks so beautiful, but learn from this. This is a cautionary tale for all of you out there that are planning your wedding. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked this one, I have another video about TikTok giving brides bad advice. So be sure to check it out, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.